What's up, Spud Nation? Week 15 NFL season, and for everyone else, fantasy football playoff time. Some of you going into round 2, some of you kicking off round 1 of your playoffs. Thanks for stopping in, getting all your advice right here at sportscoach.com. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, hit me up. My email is craig@thesportscoach.com. Twitter handle @thesportscoach. Facebook, you can find me, The Sports Coach page. Guys, lots of avenues open for you to ask your questions. Answers all the time. Fast, efficient, and effective. We're going to get going starting off with quarterbacks. These are your rankings for this week. Start the higher ranked guy, and he will score the most points for your fantasy team. Starting off, Drew Brees, number 1. Coming off a huge game, Drew Brees is always a lock in your starting lineup. Number 2, Peyton Manning. Thursday night game, a lot of concern about that. Big game for Denver, so look for Manning to be excellent as usual. Nick Foles, number 3. Just a dream matchup for Foles owners. Get him in your starting lineup. This is a guy picked up off the waiver wire for 99% of the teams out there, and now he is a playoff starter for you. If you have him, get him in your lineup. Matthew Stafford, number 4. Last week was a complete fluke. That weather would slow most normal people down. Look for Stafford to bounce back in a major way. Monday night game. I'm always a little leery starting a guy on Monday Night Football. I hate having that Sunday night hangover going into Monday, never knowing and expecting a bunch from him. But Stafford, top 5 guy, he will get it done, obviously throwing to Megatron. Number 5, Cam Newton. Number 6, it looks like Aaron Rodgers is back for Green Bay. He's coming back with a great matchup, should be high scoring, and we all know that Dallas cannot cover anybody. I'm just going to double check the matchup. Yes, Dallas taking on Green Bay has a difficult time tackling, covering, doing their thing. So look for Aaron Rodgers. It still hasn't been 100% official that he's starting, but it's looking like Aaron Rodgers will be the guy. Tony Romo, number 7. I said high-scoring game. Romo will have to counteract whatever Aaron Rodgers does. So look for a shootout there in Green Bay. Russell Wilson, 8. 9. You have the combination of McCown, Cutler. Again, uncertainty as to who the starting quarterback is going to be. It looks like it's going to be Jay Cutler this week. McCown has been phenomenal over the past month, and apparently Cutler is healthy. They're going to put him right back in there. So look for you, Jay Cutler owners. Look for him to bounce back. Too many weapons, and Chicago can air it out. Number 10, Tom Brady. Red flags, question marks all over this guy right now. We saw how pathetic their offense was earlier in the year with Gronkowski gone. Well, Gronk is out again. The guy who Tom Brady threw to in volume is now gone. Let's see if those young receivers have matured and will step in and give Brady someone to throw to. 10. He's a top 10 quarterback. Still, it's tough. And Brady owners, you're starting them. Andrew Luck, number 11. A nice bounce back game this past week. His highest output thus far this season. Look for Andrew Luck. He's a real big question mark week to week. But for those of you who have him, you drafted him to be your starter. And unless you got lucky enough to go out and pick up a guy like Nick Foles, you're going to start him. Luck is your starter. You're going with him. Phillip Rivers, number 12. 13, Alex Smith. 14, Big Ben. 15, Matt Ryan. 16, Carson Palmer. I have Robert Griffin III at number 17. Uncertainty as to if he's even going to start this week. It could be Kirk Cousins. It still hasn't been announced either way. It looks like Shanahan is done with RG3. doesn't want him to be his quarterback, and who can really blame him? So RG3 owners, keep an eye on that. 18, Colin Kaepernick. 19, Andy Dalton. 20, Jason Campbell. Jason Campbell coming off a humongous game. Again, we saw weapons showcased. Josh Gordon and Jordan Cameron. Jason Campbell has some deep value. 2 quarterback leagues. Look for a guy like Jason Campbell to still be on the waiver wire. Good value for you. Slide him in as your quarterback too. Ryan Tannehill, 21. Matt Castle, 22. Flacco, 23. Fitzpatrick, 24. EJ Manuel and Mike Glennon round out the quarterbacks. Running backs. Jamal Charles, number 1. Marshawn Lynch, number 2. Shady McCoy, number 3. Those 3 guys are definitely interchangeable. LaShawn McCoy going up against a very, very horrific defense. Jamal Charles has been lights out, and Marshawn Lynch is matchup proof. Those are your guys. Those are the big 3. If you own multiple guys on that list, more than 2, if you own all 3 of those guys, you are running through your fantasy league right now. Eddie Lacy, number 4. His value increases not only due to matchup, but because Aaron Rodgers coming back. Look for Lacy to not only get in the end zone, but go for over 100 yards with Aaron Rodgers under center. Matt Forte, number 5. Alfred Morris, number 6. Now this is a guy who I get a lot of questions about. Week to week, it's gotten worse. Worse, 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 and the Redskins' play overall has just been horrible. Look for a change at quarterback and look for them to feature their best player, and that's Alfred Morris. Let this guy run, give him his 20 carries, and reap the reward. Shane Vereen, number 7. You talk about an increased role in his team's offense. Shane Vereen is going to have to be that guy. He's going to become their safety valve, their receiver out of the backfield, which he has been since returning, but he's going to have to be even more so. Look for his volume to increase, and then on top of that, look for his carries to pick up a little bit. DeMarco Murray, number 8. Zach Stacy, number 9. Noshawn Moreno, number 10. Noshawn Moreno is looking at a 50-50 split and might even be on the back end of that 50-50 split. Denver jumps out to big leads, and not only that, Montee Ball is running better and harder than Noshawn Moreno. Denver's looking at this thing long term. Not long term as in multiple years. Long term as in their season could make it all the way to the Super Bowl. They have all the pieces needed, and they are not going to run Moreno into the dirt. It's going to be more carries, increased carries for Montee Ball, less carries for Noshawn, but he's still a top 10 back. Number 11, Maurice Jones-Drew. This one has a big red flag and a big question mark around it. Jones-Drew swears up and down he's playing this week. No hamstring is going to hurt him. He's going to play. He survived his MRI. Everything looked great. But we all know how tricky these things are, especially for a running back who's been around the block a few times. MJD has been playing phenomenally as of late. Hopefully he can step on the field this weekend. Number 12, we're doing the combination. Reggie Bush, Joique Bell. Reggie Bush, a guy who I would lean towards not playing this week, whereas Joique Bell, slide him right in there at number 12. He is fantastic when given starting running back reps. Again, Bush is a guy you need to keep an eye on the IR. If he plays, Joique Bell drops out of running back 2 consideration. 13, Chris Johnson. 14, Frank Gore. 15, Le'Veon Bell. 16, Montee Ball. Talked about Montee Ball. I can't say enough good things about this guy. I was very high on him coming into the year. It took him quite some time to become the running back I thought he could be, and he's there. He's very productive when he gets the touches. He's catching the ball out of the backfield again, and he has a nose for the goal line. Look for anywhere 15 to even 18 carries from Montee Ball throw in a catch or two, and that equals production. Here's an example. I have a client who has Andre Brown. He also has Montee Ball. If you haven't caught on, I haven't said Andre Brown's name just yet. Montee Ball I like better this week. Yes, it's a Thursday game. He's going up against a lesser defense, and with that amount of touches, he's going to be productive. I like Montee Ball in what could be a surprising start for some over a guy like Andre Brown taking on Seattle. And speaking of Andre Brown, he comes in at number 17, ranking him right behind Montee Ball. Andre Brown taking on Seattle. Again, a goal line carry taken away from Brown this past week that kills fantasy owners. You're going to put in the Vanilla Gorilla, Peyton Hillis, in at the 1 yard line instead of letting Andre Brown do what he does best. He was a goal line vulture for years, and now you're taking that role away from him. It's very frustrating for owners. Therefore, Montee Ball gets that nod. 18, Ryan Matthews, a guy who has been a question mark most of his career, has put together a few nice games in a row. He's a very nice running back 2 to have on your team, and if you have him as a flex option, very nice. He's getting a lot of carries. He's a receiver out of the backfield who is capable of doing that role. I like him. He's a solid player, not going to blow you out of the water. He's not going to put up Jamal Charles numbers, but he is a very solid guy to have as your running back 2 or a flex. Rashard Mendenhall comes in at number 19. Love his matchup. You give the guy enough carries, he's going to get points. Rashad Jennings comes in at 20. 21, Chris Ivory. 22, Steven Jackson. 23, Danny Woodhead. 24. This guy could be the most sneaky play of the week. Daniel Thomas coming off probably his best game as a pro. Wasn't even supposed to play this past week. Got thrown into running back duty because Lamar Miller got a concussion. If Lamar Miller cannot go this week and doesn't pass all his protocol, Daniel Thomas has some nice upside. It's a decent matchup, and if Miami can stick to the running game, which again is a big question mark, Daniel Thomas has value. That being said, Daniel Thomas is a gamble, so flex play at best, or if you're a guy who owned Adrian Peterson and no one is left on the free agent market, there you go. There's your gamble. Take a shot with Daniel Thomas. Speaking of Adrian Peterson, his backup, Toby Gerhart. This guy, it's still not 100% sure that he's starting because AP swears he might play this week. All stubborn running backs do this. But Gerhart will be thrown into action. He'll see an increase in carries regardless. Not a great matchup. Philly has a pretty solid run defense. But, again, you're scrounging the waiver wire. Look for a guy to get carries, and volume usually equals points. So Gerhart is worth a spot on your roster. Andre Ellington, 26. Benjarvis Green-Ellis, 27. Fred Jackson, 28. Giovanni Bernard, 29. CJ Spiller, 30. Bobby Rainey, 31. You put him up against a good run defense. We've seen what he does, and that's nothing. Bobby Rainey exploded last week. Look for him to struggle mightily this week. Darren Sproles, 32. Pierre Thomas, Donald Brown, and Ray Rice round out the running backs. Some side notes. If Maurice Jones-Drew doesn't go this week, Jordan Todman, there's a name that's probably on the waiver wire, is worth a look. Again, you're scrounging, you need a guy. Last second fill-in for Jones-Drew. Jordan Todman is the guy you're looking for. And also keep an eye on your star, Adrian Peterson, if he's playing this week. He wants to, but I'm not so sure he's going to be out there this weekend. Wide receivers, Calvin Johnson, Josh Gordon. Those guys are 1 and 2. They go hand in hand. Josh Gordon, he has definitely climbed the ladder this year. He's a guy getting 15 targets a game. He is a stud. You can't cover him one-on-one, and when you try to, he burns you deep. It's nice for all you Jason Campbell owners, Josh Gordon owners are loving the production. There we go. Can't say enough. I've been waiting for his downfall to happen. It just won't happen. So, Josh Gordon, keep doing your thing, man. You are a legitimate stud. AJ Green, number 3. Des Bryant, 4. Speaking of legitimate studs, Alshon Jeffrey comes in at number 5. I run into a big dilemma on my personal fantasy team. Well, you call it a dilemma. It's one of the best problems ever to have. Rolling out there Calvin Johnson, Josh Gordon, and then for a flex play, I have the option of Alfred Morris, Keenan Allen, and Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon Jeffrey's just been too good to not start. As good as Keenan Allen's been, Alshon Jeffrey has been that and then some. I love what he can do, and I love this week's matchup. Brandon Marshall will continue to see a ton of coverage. He's going to get Joe Hayden. Alshon's going to be on his own to do his thing. Hopefully, the return of Jay Cutler does not end all the production that Alshon Jeffrey has been putting out there. Demaryius Thomas, number 6. Jordy Nelson, 7. Number 8, Brandon Marshall. Taking on Joe Hayden, it doesn't matter. Brandon Marshall is still that good. Number 9, Andre Johnson. 10, Antonio Brown. 11, Keenan Allen. For you Keenan Allen owners, 2 touchdowns last week. He's seen a tremendous amount of targets. He's putting up great yardage. Keenan Allen is a very viable option for a starter. A low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 right here. Larry Fitzgerald, Deshaun Jackson, Eric Decker, Roddy White, Marquise Colston. We're looking at Michael Floyd and Vincent Jackson sharing the number 17 spot. 18. Pierre Garçon has been very, very quiet. I'm hoping with Kirk Cousins at the helm, Pierre Garçon gets a little uptick in production. Julian Edelman, 19. Riley Cooper, 20. 21, Torrey Smith. 22, Dwayne Bowe. 23, Kendall Wright. 24, Harry Douglas. 25, Wes Welker. 26, Michael Crabtree. I like Crabtree a lot. The guy has talent that we haven't seen yet this year, but we can tell Kaepernick likes him. They had great chemistry last year, and you can tell they're gaining momentum right now. I like what Crabtree can do. He's probably not making your starting lineup as a very, very low-end wide receiver 2 coming in at 26, but keep your eyes on Michael Crabtree. If he's on your roster, it might be a nice time to at least look ahead to your second round or possibly your Super Bowl matchup. Doug Baldwin coming in at 27. Cordero Patterson, 28. Superstar talent. They're starting to get him the ball in a variety of forms. He is really pushing to become a starter in your fantasy lineup. He's a gamble still, but Patterson, his talent's starting to show through. Steve Smith, Jarrett Boykin, Anquan Bolden, Golden Tate, James Jones, Brian Hartline, Cecil Shorts, T.Y. Hilton, Ruben Randall, Victor Cruz, Tavon Austin, and Mike Wallace round out the receivers. A lot of Indianapolis receivers are showing up or showed up last week. I need more than 1 week. That's way too small of a window, especially to throw him in a starting lineup during playoff week. You know Andrew Luck's going to complete the ball to someone. Is it going to be Coby Fleener? Is it going to be T.Y. Hilton? Is it going to be Rodgers? We don't know, so I'm steering clear of all that wide receiver mess. Tight ends, Jimmy Graham, Vernon Davis, Julius Thomas, Greg Olsen. Look for Jordan Reed to make his return this week. Jason Witten, Jordan Cameron, Dennis Pitta. This guy's got stud talent. Joe Flacco likes him a lot. His return game was very productive. Scored a touchdown. Look for that to increase. And we saw what he did last year with Flacco. It doesn't look like they missed a step. Great matchup this week. I like Dennis Pitta a lot. Check out your waiver wire. If he's there, pick him up. Tony Gonzalez, Delaney Walker, Kobe Fleener, Charles Clay. Sleeper at tight end this week, Zach Ertz. Again, great matchup. It's tough to slide him into the starting lineup, especially with any of the top 10 guys. But Philly, they like to exploit matchups, and it's usually they find a guy, they key in on him, and that's what they do. They have a nice matchup, guys. Zach Ertz, probably a wide receiver, or probably a waiver wire pickup that you can get right now. Pick him up. He, again, top 13 guy. Give it a thought. Zach Ertz, great matchup. Very good quarterback. I like his potential this week. Antonio Gates, Garrett Graham, Heath Miller, Brent Selleck, Martellus Bennett, Rob Hausler, and a guy that you can keep your eye on as well. He's not cleared to play yet. He's a big question mark. Anthony Fasano. When he's been playing, he's been very productive. Alex Smith, he's got a real weak arm, and he loves his tight ends. Look for Fasano. Again, if you have a guy like Antonio Gates, who's just fallen off the face of the earth, and a guy like Dennis Pitta's not on the waiver wire, Anthony Fasano is a nice option. He'll get you 4 catches, 40 to 60 yards, and he's been money in the red zone, scoring touchdowns quite frequently. So there you go. Those are some guys. Keep your eyes on. It's not gamble time in the playoffs, but if you're searching for guys, you were a Gronk owner, he's hurt. Guys like Zach Ertz, Dennis Pitta, Anthony Fasano, all free agent guys who you might have a shot to get that you should feel good about sticking in your starting lineup. All right, there we go. Week 15 in the books. Again, you want to get at me, Craig at thesportscoach.com. My Twitter handle at thesportscoach. Facebook, find the Sports Coach page. All avenues for you guys to get at me. So, good luck. Survive in advance. Do your thing. Let's come back next week. And for most of you, win Super Bowls. Till next week, good luck. We're out.